Yes. Okay, so welcome to day 3 of the Get Shit Done Bootcamp. And I am inviting you to share with me, to talk to me, because I really want this to be as interactive as possible. So you really, get the most out of it. And today we're going to talk about aligned action. Now, I'm going to start by saying, why does this often go wrong? Why do so many people, take the wrong action? It is because we are all very eager to get the results that we're after. But we're so eager that we're actually skipping the first 2 steps. We set a goal, it might be a big and audacious goal, but we don't cut it in shorter steps or in smaller steps. So we skip the priority setting altogether and we dive straight into the action. Who recognizes this? Who's always like, yes, let's do it. Yes. Yeah, do you recognize it? Good. Okay, so tell me, if someone wants to unmute yourself, what is aligned action for you? Who wants to share how you see aligned action? Adina, yes, go for it.
So I think for me, aligned action is very much about something that feels good and feels right to do. And it doesn't always have to make logical sense. That's sort of like, does that make sense when I say that?
Very much so, yes. Yes. Does anybody recognize that as their definition of the aligned action? Not so much. So I love it, Adina. Thank you for sharing, because there is actually a very good way of describing aligned action. You never heard of aligned action. Okay, well, that's good. So there are 2 ways of looking at aligned action. The first one is what Adina just described. You want to take action and you all of a sudden get a hunch and you follow that hunch, even though it may not seem logical. Okay, and then it turns out that hunch brings you somewhere where you did not think about it, and all of a sudden you got the solution to an answer you had. Okay, that's inspired aligned action. Now, what aligned action is also for me is that it's aligning with your goals and your priorities, so that it actually is a logical first step. But like we already discussed earlier, there also needs, there needs to be room and space for inspiration to really follow what feels good. And I looked at a lot of what you guys shared with me regarding goals and what you want to achieve. There was a lot of, I'm doing this from my heart. I'm doing this because I love this. And when you do that, and then you will feel, this is what aligns to me. This is what feels right. Why do I emphasize this so much? Because once you know what feels right, you also know what doesn't feel right. Okay, who has ever had this nasty feeling and you went like, yeah, I'm not entirely sure, and then you took the action and then it didn't pan out well? Audrey, yeah. Adina, yeah. We've all had that. Maybe even I had it with clients as well. You have someone you're having a conversation with and they want to become your client and you're not feeling it. And then when you push through, most likely this isn't the best client relationship you can have. So that's aligned action. Learn to trust what you feel. But very important, learn to take the action that is aligned to your goal and your priorities. And I already said this is also the reason why it often goes wrong, because we actually start with the end instead of taking these very important first steps. I was offered a job once that made sense logically, but everything about it felt off. I was unemployed at the time and I took it, and boy, was it the biggest mistake I had done back then. Yes, I think we all have 1 or 2 examples where we actually took action knowing it wasn't the right one. Yeah. So aligned action is the action that is inspired by your goals and your priorities, but it also determines your focus points. Now, Dr. David, you shared yesterday, we talked about priorities. I'm not sure whether you can hear me because I can't see you, but you shared that you...
I can hear you.
Excellent, happy to hear. But you shared that priorities and, you know, which priority to choose. I just wanted to revert back to that. Did you get some light shared there yesterday?
No, in terms of, so my own issue is, well, let me take a step back. First off, I really like what you said yesterday about what you said about how priority and focus goes hand in hand together.
Yes.
Which I thought was great. For me, that was kind of like the light bulb moment, like, oh shit, like, yeah, that makes complete sense, like, duh. But so my issue, and actually one of my actual items for myself for this weekend, is to come up with my priorities.
Yes.
I have the 6 things I'm working on, but to figure out what should take top priority over something else, it's just really kind of sit down. I know it's going to be a process. So have I figured out what to prioritize yet? No. But do I know that I need to really sit down and focus on that to make sure that, hey, if I don't have that priority, as you mentioned yesterday, I'm not going to be able to put that stuff into action.
Yes.
So, and that's for me was like the big, like, oh crap. Like I said, that's a light bulb moment for me yesterday. I thought yesterday it was very, for myself, very useful, because I can now see if I don't have that focus or that priority and figure out the priorities. That's why I'm not always living on the actual items I need to, or I want to, I should say.
Yeah. Okay, great. I love that. Yeah, thank you. Yes, because the reason why I asked is indeed, if you have your priorities, you know, if you know, it's easy to say, okay, I've got like 6, 8 priorities. But it's like a Christmas tree, right? We start at the top with our goal, then the priorities follow, and then the action come there. So if you have 6 priorities, it's a very broad Christmas tree. So you're spreading yourself basically too thin. So that's also the reason why you shouldn't pick too many priorities, because each priority can have multiple actions. And that's also, again, for me, what is aligned action is to really keep it focused on that priority.
But now I do have a question. When you say priority, like, because when I say the 6 items, and the way I view this is more of, okay, great, you have your 6 priorities. Priority 1 is really what you need to focus on for a week, or day 1 to day 20. And priority 2 and 3, you don't really need to doesn't need to be a priority to like day 20 to like day 60.
Yes.
Like, so that's why I view putting those priorities, saying, okay, you can take care of this low hanging fruit now. Maybe that's the top priority, or maybe that will reap you the most reward for what you're looking for personally or professionally. So that's where I figure you're throwing the timelines in there, correct?
Yes, I like that. So you're really prioritizing in time as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and that's excellent, because that works. And then the question is really, and I like that you mentioned low-hanging fruit, where can you make the biggest impact that you are looking for?
Yep, correct, exactly.
Yeah, and then it also ties back into the conversation with Jocelyn yesterday, who said, where do I focus on my short-term goals or my long-term goals? And then the question is really, well, what's your aim? What do you want to achieve now? And that's where the focus should be. Okay, so David says, I can only focus on 3 things at a time. Yeah, I love 3 things actually to focus on. So thank you for sharing that. So back to aligned actions. We said priorities, aligned action, that's really the focus. And aligned actions are also, just to emphasize once more, what brings you the results. And here is where I often see it, you know, go a bit off, is that we understand that we have to do something for a longer period of time, but right now we want actually a different result. So I'm not saying you should never work on a long-term goal or a long-term action, but really ask yourself, what do I want to get right now? And what's then the most aligned, logical, or great feeling action that I can take? Also, when you feel overwhelmed because there's too much going on, that also happens. A great question to ask yourself, what is the best action I can take right now that's going to give me the results that I'm after? And then all of a sudden it becomes easy. Okay, so what do you need to do to keep your priorities? I'm just curious. Like I said, I'm going to make it more interactive today. Who struggles with keeping the focus now and again? Okay, so Vicky, can you share a bit?
Yeah, I think for me, the difficulty is I get focused on kind of doing the work that I'm kind of involved in every day, and maybe not necessarily on driving my business forward and potentially doing some of the things that are not quite as interesting to me because I actually really love doing my job. But there's always also that element of, you know, building your business and going forward, which I think I tend to neglect a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a very common thing, right? And if you're in the right business, and I hope you're all in the right business, you love what you do, right? So it's easy to focus on what you do, but you also have to work on your business. So what would really work in that instance, if you have a dedicated day or a dedicated half day or a dedicated moment in time where you say, this is my CEO day, this is where I actually work on my business. I'm blocking it off. Nothing's going to happen. Monday morning, first thing, these are the things that need to happen to grow my business, to work on my business. This is the moment where I look at my numbers. This is the moment where I take planning. This is where I really, really take a deep dive in what I can do to grow my business to the next level. Or this is the day where I actually have my team meetings, where we schedule the month ahead, the week ahead. So if you have that on a concise moment in your calendar, then it becomes easy. Then it actually becomes fun, especially when the numbers go up. You know, it's go like, okay, let's check how we're doing today. And it really helps to time block. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. So you can't get lost in the love for your work, but you keep growing your company because you're having a day where you really take a deep dive in the numbers and everything that needs your attention. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's the key is like doing something you don't enjoy doing, I think, and driving that motivation. I do actually have a day blocked out every week when I'm supposed to do it, but I'm so easily distracted from things I don't enjoy doing. So that for me is like that motivation to do stuff I don't want to do. But yeah, getting there.
Okay, so
I agree with what you just said on that, because I'm already implementing that already. And my old business mentor, when I started my very first company in 2004, forced me every Tuesday from 4 o'clock to 8 p.m. to do all the shit I didn't want to do. So that was ingrained in me very, very young. I may have your thoughts on it, but in the beginning, the stuff that you don't want to do it, that's the time you do it, because you're not be distracted. And you can only blame yourself if you choose not to do it at that time. So there's no other excuses at all.
Yeah,
I think that timing is probably quite a good time as well. Now, the day I block out is Friday. Now, by the time I get to the end of the week, I'm like, ooh, nearly weekend. It's really difficult to motivate myself when it's Friday, and there's other interesting things to be doing. So I might have chosen the wrong day. I think maybe Tuesday evening would probably work better for me, actually. You know, it's a nothing day, isn't it? So maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do Friday. Friday is really for champagne. Yeah. No, no, really, you shouldn't do Friday. Okay, hold on. Tom, you're raising your hand. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I used to sort of block out that time to do the shit that I don't like to do. And it's a perfectly valid approach. But I also got to a point where I recognized that rather than spending time doing the shit that I don't want to do, I should spend that time figuring out how to systematize and document those things so that I can delegate them.
Yes.
And, you know, I understood conceptually for a long time the idea of delegation and was emotionally committed to the idea of delegation. But then I realized that I wasn't delegating because to delegate takes a lot of work. It's shit I didn't want to do, the work of documenting and finding the people and some trial and error. Sometimes you delegate and it's not the right person and you have to start over. But once you get over that hump and, you know, bite the bullet, you still have to carve time out the same way that everybody was just talking about, and do that shit you don't want to do, and you get it off your plate. That's when it really frees you up.
Yes.
That's when you have the greatest impact, at least
Yeah.
in my experience.
I love that. Thank you, Tom, for sharing. And Adina also says, yes, it's also work to really, really teach the people you want to do. And I love these examples that you bring up. And Vicky, we also talk about procrastination, and the word itself already says it. Yeah, I have to do the shit stuff, you know, I have to do, and that's why I called this bootcamp Get the Shit Done. I first wanted to call it something very nice so I wouldn't curse, but every time I explained it to someone, I said, yeah, you have to get the shit done, and that everybody understands that. Now, if you are procrastinating and working on your business, like you said, Vicky, you can procrastinate that easy, right? Especially on Friday afternoon. But, you know, if you're procrastinating, there are actually two things happening, or there could be two things happening. The first thing is, like Tom already said, you don't like to do the work. Okay. Now, in itself, growing your business, there could be things that you do not really like. For example, taking a deep dive into your numbers. A lot of people are number averse. They don't really like it. A lot of people are also really into numbers, like I know, but a lot of people don't like it. But do realize, if you really want to grow your company, you need to be on top of your numbers, right? So it also comes with owning what really brings you further. So if you don't like what you need to do, there are 3 ways to deal with it. And I call this the traffic light system. Very easy. Red is stop doing it altogether. And I've written it, by the way, in the workbook for this week. Jackie, if you could share it, please. So you can make notes, but it's all there. So if you don't like what you keep pushing forward, you rather stop doing it. I don't know about you, but I used to have a whole to-do list, and then there was 1 or 2 action items at the bottom that every week I kept pushing it forward to my next list and my next list and my next list until it was on there for months. That's definitely the one you need to kill. You don't like to do it, just stop it, okay? Stop it altogether. The second way to deal with it, it's orange, is you know it needs to be done. You don't like to do it. Outsource it. Outsource it, systemize it, delegate it. Whatever you do, make sure that you understand what needs to be done, how you want it done, how you're going to measure how it is done, and what the success factors are for you, and then get someone to do it for you. And this can be, especially with the global environment we're in right now, so much easier than you think. Okay, so yeah, find the right tech to make it easier, precisely that. So that's orange. Now, if it is something that you decide it really has to be done, and it really has to be done by me, but right now I don't like to do it, then change it so that you actually fall in love with it. So the question then merely is, how can I make it fun? Okay, so for example, if you need to dive into the numbers, you're not a great number person, find someone, a friend who is a great number person, and I don't know, take a glass of wine, take a bottle of champagne and dive into it together, right? Make it fun, but also realize why you're doing it. Because when you feel like, hey, but this is the step so I can actually get to that next level, then all of a sudden it becomes more interesting. So if you're procrastinating, one of the things is you need to look at the traffic light. Stop it altogether, outsource it or systemize it or delegate it, or make it a fun activity so you can't procrastinate any longer. That's the one thing. Then the other reason why we procrastinate too often is because the actual action we have written down isn't the action we need to take. And what do I mean by that? For example, I saw a couple of you said, well, I want to use these 3 days to get people into my webinar or talk I'm hosting. That was the goal, or that was the action. This is what I want. And I for an example, I've written it down in the workbook. If you write as an action item, I'm hosting a webinar, you're not doing yourself justice, okay? I don't know all the steps that I came up with, but I had 12 steps that were actually leading up to hosting a webinar. And this is what we do often. We say, oh, my action is hosting a webinar, where it is actually deciding what I'm going to talk about, setting up a speech, making social media posts, inviting people to my event, getting the technology done, broadcasting it, maybe having a sales page, the whole shebang. It are many, many, many steps that lead up to hosting that webinar. So if you find yourself procrastinating, ask yourself, is this the true next step I need to take? Or did I maybe write down the whole shebang instead of cutting it into smaller pieces? Does this make sense? Yeah? Okay. So there's another term that I would like to test whether you guys know it. Who's ever heard of being an optimistic planner? Yeah? Never heard of it? No? Okay. David, you want to share?
Well, yeah, it's feeling like you can do everything in whatever amount of allotted time. So you overplan and you get a fraction of what you've committed to done.
Yeah, thank you. It's basically a lot of us are optimistic planners, right? Again, you love your business and you go like, oh, today I'm feeling good, so I'm going to go for it. And this is what I'm all going to do. By the end of the day, you feel completely drained. You're like, holy mac, why didn't I do it? And then you go like, because you're tired, why never can I finish it? I'm always like, la, 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 la. And then before you know, it's, you know, that's, I know you, Adina. That's something that happens to all of us. And really, I'm inviting you to be, you know, don't set yourself up for drainage. Really set yourself up for success. So the best thing you can do is ask yourself in the morning, what are my 3 most impactful actions? Okay, I already saw, Michael, you said, eat that frog. I don't know whether you guys know the book, but it's a great book and it's a great saying originally by Mark Twain. If you have a task that you don't like doing, do it the first thing in the morning. If you have 2 tasks that you don't like doing, start with the one you're dreading most. Because what will happen once you've done the one that you don't like to do? You feel instant amazing about yourself, you feel more productive, and you actually will see that you get more done throughout the day because you've done that annoying task first. So Vicky, that might be another thing to think about. Maybe start your day with those tasks. Yeah. Okay, so now I just want to go, I'm looking at the time. I can really talk about this for a long, long time, but I just want to touch quickly on productivity. Who can share the best way for him or her, how they like to be productive? Make lists, yeah? You can unmute yourself. Okay.
You mentioned earlier time blocking, and
Yes.
I think it's critical.
Yes.
I take a task, I block time, usually no more than 30 minutes. I actually do a little more than 30 minutes. There's an old copywriter named Eugene Schwartz who used to set his timer to 33:33, and that's a little trick that I like to use. And when that timer goes off, I'll stop in mid-sentence. If I'm writing, I'll put the task down. I'll double up later if I need to, but I always block time, take a break, a very short one sometimes, but that's a key approach for my productivity.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, time blocking, taking breaks. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's really, really helpful. Drinking a lot of water is also very helpful because then you have a natural break. But really, you know, make sure you take a lot of breaks. Background music to block out distractions. What I also like to do is to switch off any notifications, because those are really, really, you know, the worst. And especially those where you can also read the first line of your email and then not opening it, but during the rest of the day you go like, I still have to do that email, I still have to get there. So that's like, your mind goes wandering all the time. Not working from home, I go to a cafe to get in the flow and use a lot of Trello lists with tasks cut into smaller tasks. Yeah, I also can't have music with lyrics in the background. Yeah, instrumental. Yeah, I love actually, you on YouTube, you have many of the, when you type in focus, you have many of those. I don't even, but it's really great. They have like these unaudible beats that help you a lot. Yeah, I like that too. I have, I'm going to go to that, Jocelyn, just now. I also have a technique that is called batching, and I will share with you the link on how to actually batch so you can actually get more time. And I forgot to share that link with Jackie, so I'm sharing it now. There, if you want to download it, that's gonna get you more time. And creating little rewards for myself during the day. And what also really works well is accountability. If we talked about, you know, those Vicky, about those things that you know you have to do but you don't want to do. So I'll give you an example. Something was very critical, updating my website. But I didn't want to do it, and I didn't want to hire someone. So I kept pushing it forward, even though it's critical to my company to have my website. I found myself an accountability partner within the first week. I've done it. Just because I'm saying to someone, this is what I'm going to do. And then the next week I have to tell him, you know what? I didn't do it. You don't say that. You say, I found someone. Okay. I'm most productive in the evenings. Donna, that's also a very good one, to really work with your preferred time. A lot of people are most brilliant early mornings. I'm not brilliant early mornings. I'm not. I tried the 6 a.m. You know, that miracle morning thing. Not my thing. I'm an evening owl. So that, but it works for me. Just go with what works for you. Breaks do not always work that well when I'm in the creative process, but feel drained after that. Okay. So Jocelyn, that's an important one. When you feel that you're in the flow, you want to keep going, right? The thing with creating or with being in flow and inspired is that in itself is good, and you can actually push through a long time. Because when you're creative and you're creating and it automatically flows and you forget all about time because this is what you want to do, and it's awesome. The thing that happens, and tell me whether you recognize this, is that at a certain point of time, you actually forget that you were, that you get out of flow, but because you were in flow and it was going so nice, you push through. And it is that moment when you are breaking the flow that you need to take a break to not feel drained. You can then feel tired because you're like, well, I worked a long time and it was really, but wow. But breaking the flow starts, for example, you're typing or you're working on your computer program and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. That's the sign that you're out of flow. But we as humans push through. I want to finish it. Now I'm doing it. Now I don't mind. I'm not taking a break. I want to finish it. But you need to be honest with yourself and start recognizing those moments when you are out of flow, because they are there, because otherwise you wouldn't feel drained. So start paying attention to those little signs. Or for example, I don't know, you're typing something and all of a sudden you're making a lot of spelling mistakes. And then you get, that angry on your keyboard because you were doing so well. That's a sign. There's the flow is gone. Take a break then. Yeah, try it. Let me know how it works, because I recognize it. Yeah, the 4 quadrants of time management. It's a great one. It's really I Stephen Covey's book about 7. What is it? I always forget the title. Right.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
There we go. That book is really, really a great one. Also, if you're looking for time, get the summary on Audible. Works really well. Yeah. I sometimes push myself because I feel guilty for not having done so well. Yeah, I recognize this, but I would really celebrate it, because it is amazing that you own your own business and you have that freedom that so long you have been wanting to get, and now you've got it. And especially if you help your clients to feel more free as well, it is something to celebrate and to talk about and to really share, because a lot of people want it and they don't know how to get it. So I would more celebrate, and it has to do also with the, fighting against the norm being I need to work hard all the time. And you already said it, you're a rebel. So I think you're right on track. I keep healthy snacks close by to see if my sugar levels are affecting my productivity. Yeah, I would emphasize healthy. I don't do so well with snacks, I must admit. But yeah, that really helps. Yeah. So I'm going to open it up for questions for sure, because it is 30 minutes past 12 or past 6 or past 5, wherever you are, or past whatever time. And I promise to keep it to 30 minutes. So I'm going to open up to questions, but I do want to share with you that as you can already notice, I can talk about this for a long time, and I would love to talk about this for a long time. I have a lot of experience with this, and I've tested it all. Like I said, it took me 15 years to break free from work addiction, but I've taken all these habits on how to become more effective, how to become more productive, how to get more done, and to really grow your business in less time. And I'm opening up, I already told you this in the beginning, my group program, which is called Get Shit Done Club, because why break a good name, right? And it's basically, it's a group where it's a program where you work with 3 to 10 people maximum. I want to keep it small because I really want to give you your personal attention. I'm going to very quickly tell you what it entails, and I'm going to share the link with you so you can read it all at your own time. But basically we work together for 3 months and we have weekly calls. On week 1, we're going to go through theory that's going to help you to become more productive and to really grow your business. On week 2, there's an accountability call. So how have you done and what's happening? On week 3, we're taking a deep dive into what you will see is happening, that maybe you're hitting a limit. You want something to happen and it's not happening. And the question is why, or you need some support in your business. Week 3 is hot seat coaching and week 4 is accountability. So every week there's a coaching call. There's a group where you can share a lot. You get assistance from me in a daily check-in moment to see what are your goals, what have you done for the week, what are we celebrating. It is really an amazing concept. I've tried and tested, and it works wonderfully. And I'm inviting you as bootcamp member to become a club member as well. Okay, so I'm opening the card only for you. right now. And after on Sunday, I'm opening it for everybody. But for right now, it's only open for you. And the price is $555 per month for 3 months. Jackie, if you can share the link, please. There we go. Love this. You can read all about it on the website. And because you guys are amazing, I truly think you are amazing, I'm offering you something special. When you decide to join me now, today or tomorrow, and it's for 48 hours, you get a business scan with the value of $249. You get that on top of it. So that's a 90-minute consultation with me, where we either go into your strategy for your business, how to attract more clients, your social media strategy, or how to streamline your business so you actually really already are ready to scale. That's the bonus you get if you sign up with me. So that's what I wanted to share with you, because I just can't stop talking about it. I just love this so much. And it would be an honor to work with you. So that's if you feel like, hey, I tasted it, I really am ready to grow my business, but I don't want to waste any more time, then this is definitely for you. Now I want to open it up so that I can answer any questions you may have. And oh, that's a good one. I just see a personal message. If you want to discuss this with me one-on-one, just say it. And if you can share the link, Jackie, you can book in a 30-minute call with me, and we just go over where are you in your business, what would help you best. Okay, so that's for there. Who has any questions right now? What are you struggling with? What are you facing in terms of taking action? David?
Yeah, Yvonne, I'm getting over being sick for a couple of weeks, a sinus infection. How do you get restarted? I mean, it's a whole different thing moving along, but any thoughts on that?
Yes. So if you're not feeling well, first of all, give yourself some slack. Okay, because most likely you're beating yourself up because you wanted to do a whole lot and you got sick and you didn't do it, and you're a bit grumpy. Oh, I would be, because I know, you know how it works. This is what I needed to do, and then okay. But first of all, give yourself a break. Okay, your health comes first. That's the first thing. So then that already is a whole different feeling, because now you're no longer behind, you're still on top of things. So, and then basically just ask yourself, okay, so, you know, some things didn't work as I wanted to. And instead of going, and I need to do this, you know, piling it all on top of each other, rather ask yourself, okay, so what's most impactful right now? What's going to make the biggest difference? Where am I going to start? Basically, forget about all the things you had planned, or just use them to see, hey, but what's most urgent right now? What's most urgent and most important? And start there.
Okay, thanks.
But the most important thing is really give yourself a break. You're human. Okay. Fortunately. Okay. Anyone else? Is everybody all the time productive and gets everything all the time done? No? Nobody wants to raise a question then?
Good point, Yvonne. Let's use this time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking when you say when I'm not productive, I elaborate too much on a bit of creative things. I can spend hours on a PowerPoint finalizing like nice colors and stuff like that. And I'm like, I know that I'm not using my time effectively, but I'm still, sometimes I just wander off and still do it anyway. So I think it's a kind of procrastination. Do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I think it's very common. So everybody does it. And I don't know whether you've ever worked with Canva, but Canva can be great, but it can also be hell, because you can lose yourself in Canva and all the colors and the pictures and whatever. And before you know it, you wasted a couple of hours and you go like, oh my word. Yeah. So very simple, become aware that you're doing it. Okay. Become aware that you're doing it. And then a great mantra for you is progress, not perfection. And also ask yourself, okay, if I'm changing this font and this color, how much impact is it going to have? How much are they really going to see it? And the truth is, you can play with it for hours, but it's not going to result you immediately in more business. So I would really avoid that, and catch yourself when you're doing it. I must admit, I still do it sometimes, and I'm like, okay, no, this is waste my time. I'd rather do something else. Yeah. Does that help? So progress, not perfection, should be your new mantra. Okay. And Donna says with Canva, it helps to have a clear vision of your design or rough draft. Yes, that also helps. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I lose myself when I go looking into templates, and then I go like, oh, I like that one and that one, and then I lose myself. So I try not to. Yeah, that really works for me. Okay. Any other questions?
Maybe a quick follow-up, if that's all right. Sometimes if you say like that, it feels nice to wander off a bit, like, can I please have some time to think about nice colors instead of always being productive? Yeah. And I have the same with, for example, watching Netflix late at night. I had a busy day, very productive, and I want to sleep at 11 p.m. But I have the right to watch this series, this episode, because I need chill time. Yeah. And that's how my mind is telling like procrastinating my sleep. And then it's 12 a.m. and I'm too late. So yeah, you catch my drift. Like, yeah, how do I deal with the feeling that I have to right to wander off or to procrastinate sometimes? Because,
well, basically what this is telling me is that you plan too much. You can't be productive all the time, and you don't have to be productive all the time. So when I work with very creative people that are creative for their work, so I work with how do you say that, brand designer, and web developers, and they really need the inspiration, and they thrive on the inspiration. Inspiration goes dead if you are completely fully planned the whole day. Nothing's going to happen because you're working, and inspiration comes to you on the weirdest moments. For example, when you're walking your dog, which isn't work, but there is a lot of inspiration. So this is for the more creative people, but for you as well, it just sounds like your day is too full. Okay, so scale back, because you just need sometimes, again, to play, in Dutch to say een beetje klooien. You need that. You need to have that. And yes, it can be in colors, or it can be whatever you want to do, but give yourself that slack. And the same is with watching television. I know that there are a lot of people who tell you, don't watch television because it's a waste of your time. I don't know. I like it. I love it, actually, especially when it's funny, or it's just, sometimes I just need to unwind and sit and chat to my love. We always start a series, and then our record is now 1 second, and then we already had to stop because we had to share something. So we do like this marathon where we watch it, and then we have to pause it because we want to tell something to each other. But just enjoy. Life is about enjoying. If you enjoy watching television, great. If you enjoy watching it for an hour, just stop your day earlier. We all need to unwind. Same with social media. People always tell you don't scroll on social media. And you know where they say it? On social media. I think that's hilarious. Everybody scrolls on social media because it's fun. You know, it's just when you are posting on social media in your capacity to work, to gain clients, then don't lose yourself in scrolling, because that's a waste of your time. Rather say, hey, I'm dedicating the next 30 minutes, I'm posting, I'm commenting, that's it. And then if I want to scroll, I do it, I don't know, during my lunch break. But don't tell yourself not to scroll, because first of all, we all scroll, so you only feel guilty. And second of all, why should you? It's fun. The whole reason why I have Instagram, every morning I go to all my Bali accounts and I check out how they are bicycling on the island, and how the flowers are, and I go like, ooh, one day I go back. I love that. Don't take that away. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can imagine if you use it like that, it doesn't become procrastination anymore. You have just 15 minutes of scrolling and not like, I need this, but like, oh, and now it's done and I get on with my day.
Precisely, yeah. You just make it fun. But as soon as you're going to start yourself to tell, I can't do that, or I'm not allowed, then the guilt starts seeping in, and then you feel bad. Whereas you just say, hey, I'm having a bit of fun, who cares? So it's just a perspective that you need to change. We all do it. Everybody loves it. And you know, I don't know. I find it hilarious when people say, don't stop posting on social media. And where do you see it? On social media. So yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Jocelyn? No? Hans?
Yes, okay. I'm still thinking about social media is a very big, many places. You have Facebook, you have TikTok, you have LinkedIn. But what is now for the best? I like to present my ideas with social media, but I was thinking now only in Zoom, and the way how I can reach the people with Zoom. How it's, yeah, you have to investate maybe something in something, but can it also be I hear also that sometimes you have to give something for free in the beginning start, and that is not a business, but that is only giving for free, and that is still in my mind. I have to start, I think, to start directly as soon as possible, because I want to make people awake that they all tell their own story. I'm interested in every story, that people can tell their own story, and that is a concept I have find for that. And that I will teach, but I still practice how I how I have to do that.
I understand. Okay, so you're asking a couple of questions in one, actually, so I like it. So the social media channel, and Donna, we also spoke about this a bit, right? There are so many social media channels out there, and everyone kind of has their own people on it, right? Instagram, for example, like I already told you, it's a lot of visual. So it's videos, it's pictures. So for your art, Instagram could work very well. Okay. LinkedIn is apparently a bit more business-like. So you could look at it like, okay, so if I am not as much business-wise, is it then for me? I don't feel comfortable, then you shouldn't. Or you could say, because I am not as business-like, I'm going to stand out and I'm going to attract actually more people. It's depending on how you view it. And then you have TikTok. I must be honest, I'm not into TikTok because it's a lot of dancing and things. I don't feel comfortable there. That's my thing. But again, it could work really well. You have Twitter, but that's it's a time consuming because it's really quick and it's a lot of facts that people like to discuss. And you have Facebook. Okay, and Facebook is quite a lot of people go to Facebook, but now and again, because I started the Facebook group, a lot of people also tell me I don't like Facebook. It's basically, if you need to think about, where do I find my customers? You know, where are they most likely to be found? Oh, you also have YouTube, of course. Where do they find me? That's the first question. Then the second question you need to ask yourself is, which platform do I like? I don't like Twitter personally, because I talk too long. So don't make me tweet in 20 signs or whatever. I can't. Okay. And it's also where you feel more comfortable. I love LinkedIn. I get that. And I've started Instagram because I like the visuals. So that works for me. Oh yeah, Pinterest is a good one too. That's actually also a good one for you, maybe, Hans. So that's the first thing. Ask yourself, where's my audience? And then ask yourself, what do I like and what do I understand? You know, what works for me well? This comes together really with, do I love videos? Do I love art? You know, how do I want to present myself? So that's the second question. Then to get more people to engage with you, yes, you can start with a freebie, sure, or something you give away, or maybe like Jackie says, you can run a competition. There are quite a few things you could think about, but what really works well for a lot of people, and it's the easiest, which we often forget, is to start by building relationships. And it doesn't matter which social media platform you are, but as soon as you connect with someone, you can talk to them and you can just get to know them better. And if you get to know them better, you can grow the relationship. And then if the relationship is there, you can actually talk about what you do and what you offer. It's actually one of the most powerful. We often forget, and it's going to take time, but you also build ambassadors. I had a sales call yesterday with someone through someone I met on LinkedIn. We chatted, just exchanged, you know, who we are. And then he referred someone to me, and she's going to be coached by me now. It was just one phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, so relationship building, no matter the platform, I would highly recommend, because you also have a beautiful story to share.
Yeah.
Why you do this? It's an amazing story, so people will want to hear that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have one final question, and then I'm gonna stop it all together. So I don't know, Michael, do you have a question perhaps, or Louis? They might be doing something else. No. Donna, do you have a question?
I do not have.
Oh, sorry, Michael. Yes, go on.
I was on mute. No, just it's been a great session. I appreciate everything.
Excellent. No questions for you?
Not for me at the moment.
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much, Michael. Happy that you got here.
Yeah, and same for me. It's Louis.
Okay.
No questions in particular,
no questions.
but very interesting sessions for sure. Thanks.
Loved it. I loved how you changed your goals, Louis. They were really good ones. That was great.
Thanks.
Okay. Donna?
Yeah, so the last 3 days, well, yes, today especially, I actually had someone sort of like explain, like, you know, what I've been struggling with, like just figuring out like the steps.
Yes.
So I actually had someone explain it to me in a way that I can understand. And a lot of that has to do with my own particular learning style.
Yeah.
So like I've changed my priorities now to actually just focus on like creating the website and doing the content for that website to get more people to engage.
Yeah.
And just like starting there.
Okay.
So thank you.
I like that. That's a good one that you mentioned as well. And that's again, you know, what works for you. That's really what's always the question. What works well for me? What lights me up? Where can I really, you know, do more of because I like it? So
yeah, it's just like I have this like vision that I need to create. And it's just like, how do I put that vision together in a way that people can understand?
Yeah, I like that. A vision is always good. Okay, thank you for sharing. And with that, I'm gonna finish today's session. Thank you so much for being here with me. I am gonna draw tonight, not tonight, sorry. I have I'm gonna celebrate tonight, but I have a champagne bucket here and a bottle of champagne also, by the way. And I am gonna put the names in the bucket and I'm gonna draw the names tomorrow, okay? So I'm gonna do this also tomorrow. I'm gonna open Zoom again. If you guys wanna be there, you're very welcome to join. And then, you know, if there are any questions, you can ask me any questions. It's not, because the drawing itself is not gonna last that long. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to bring them as well, because otherwise it's just, well, thank you, this is the winner, and then so I thought, okay, I'm going to do a Q&A as well. So that's tomorrow. If if you want to be there, please join me. I will send out the information. It's the same time. Thank you, Jackie. It's the same time. It's the same Zoom link. So everything stays the same, but it's not going to last an hour unless you guys have many questions, but I'm aiming not for an hour. Okay. With that, thank you so much for being here. I am still available for questions throughout till tomorrow. Then I'm going to cut it off. If you want to continue working with me, I would love it. Honestly, I see so much amazing people here and I see amazing things that you guys are doing. Join the Get Shit Done Club, or, you know, set a call with me to find out how we can work together. Okay. Thank you all, and wishing you an amazing day and an amazing evening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.